Of course, a leaky pen is going to scare everybody. Pocket, pen's pocket or shirt pockets. I've seen very lovely stains. So I'm going to list you all the troubles you can get, and I'm going to explain them one by one with a little bit more details. So we have about 7, 8 different leaky causes, I would say. So first, I would say a pen cap. Yeah, dirty pen cap, for example. Plane rides, converters, problem with converters or cartridges, and we are going to explain a little bit more in detail. And I'm looking at my notes, make sure I get them all. Spacing, interesting, a lot of space problem between nibs, nibs assemblies and feeds and all that. What about cracks on the feed, cracks on the nib assemblies and so on? We're going to say that. And then also the last that we'll reserve, it's leaking for fun. Could it be? You're going to have to wait to the end to know more. Alright, so I start by cleaning of the pen. It's always good to clean your pen. So basically the problem lays if you don't clean your cap, because you never think of cleaning your cap. We clean the nib, okay? We clean everything that could be receiving inks, and so it can leak on the cartridge's side, or it can leak here, it can leak everywhere. But we always forget the cap, so put water in there and Q-tips and you have a clean cap. Why? Because there's only a small space, very tight space, what we call an inner cap is inserted inside the cap, and its inner cap is a little plastic device that will really hug the nib very closely to limit the amount of air to prevent drying, okay? So because it's very, very, very close to your nib, if your nib is not set properly, too far to inside, or maybe sideways, okay, could be up and down like this, that could be nib sideways, you can see. If the nibs are not set properly, it will probably touch the inner cap, or some dirt, lint, or whatever you is in there, and then if it leaks once, it will leak again, because something is touching the inner cap, okay? Very important. So you can test by inserting the pen and then listening or feeling if there's any rubbing, okay? If I screw like this, and of course the nib will rotate inside the cap. If it's unsettled, if the nib is unsettled, it's not positioned right, or it plays out a little bit too much, it will most likely touch the edge of the one edge somewhere inside the inner cap, and a leak can occur. Number 2, a plane ride. Oh, plane ride, what happened? We pressurize planes, and when we land, we depressurize, we open the door and then depressurize. So what happened? We create in and out pressure inside the pen system. So to prevent this, fill up your converter, have brand new fill up cartridges. We want no air. We want less air as possible. There's always a little bubble, but smaller the bubble is, less problem you will get during a plane ride. I would say position is not going to be an issue. It's really, it leaks no matter what. So I would say you can always try to keep it up, but there's a plane ride. Unless you have a Visconti, double filler, or unless you have an Opus 88 where you close the I would say the tank, or the reserve or the converter, and then you close, and then you can't have any access. The ink won't come toward the nib section. So if you don't have those expensive pens, then you will most likely have a problem flying unless you put new cartridges and fill up, and you can probably most likely fill up it 2 or 3 times with the converter. Make sure the bubble is minimum. So number 3, I would say converters. Converters are a problem. Converters are a real issue because every single brand will have its own converter. On the international side of converters, I would say there's converters that are screw. I don't know if you see the screw system here, and I love the screw on converters. It's actually an international size converter. So basically, you could always replace this converter, this screw-on converter, by the non-threaded. Okay, this one is non-threaded. It's the same exact one. It looks exactly the same. Okay, but one has a thread and the other doesn't. So you could always change threaded converter by non-threaded converter. But you want the converter to sit properly. You see, I'm pulling it here and then it resists. Even because it's not a threaded converter, it fits really well. You have some plastic. If you don't have metal here, the metal fittings, you have plastic or plastic converters. That works very well, but they have to fit as well. This one fits pretty good. So you have to test your converter. It cannot be unsecure like this. I'm trying a green one. This one fits very well. So very, very important, because what happened, and I'm going to show you what happened, is the connection is only here. This is what we call the nib assembly. Okay, a nib assembly is composed of the nib, the feed, and the little assembly right there, the little tube right there. This little tube is holding the feed and the nib together, and what sticks out is part of the feed. And you see here, when I put my my converter, there's no it's not tight at all. I can't, you see, it doesn't hold at all. So basically, this is not a perfect fit. This one is not exactly a perfect fit. This one is a perfect fit. So it's very tricky. So I should be able to feel that I have a perfect fit if everything is tight. So now you can see that because it's only here, the connection is that you have to have a perfect circular hole. Any damaged converters here, or any damaged cartridges. More likely a cartridge will first be damaged because it's a little bit more fragile than a converter. So always look, magnifying glass if needed, but look if everything seems correct, if it's perfectly round. Okay, like again, that's the only point of connection. So if there's any looseness here, then the ink will leak either here or make the weight of the ink coming down easier and fill up your cap. Okay, now we have space between, I would say it's space between feed, nibs, and so on. Basically, I told you about the nibs that will be set too far, or you can visually look at where your nib is compared to the feed. Everything should be straight with equidistance left and right. But what we have, and we have some models of pen, like I would say vintage, like this one, well, there's no little tube, there's no nib assembly. What it is the section that is being drilled to receive the nib and the feed. At this case, at this place right there, at this location right there around, because you are fitting something kind of oval, the nib is flat on something circular, and you're fitting it inside something that is round, you will have some space, and too much space lead to leak. Okay, very important. And it exists on also very, very modern, newly made pens. these pens are eyedroppers, and they also have spacing. I would not mention the special country where they are coming from, but because they want to provide a lot of pens to their school, they make it cheap, and of course you can have leaky pens. They are fun to use, but that's what happened. Now almost done, and we have cracks. So here you see that the section is transparent. Okay, you can see the feed, you can see the nib. So you would be able to see the ink coming out in the cracks somewhere. So you have to also take your magnifying glass, turn around, look very carefully if the section has a crack. If the section bear this nib assembly that I was explaining earlier, if it has a nib assembly, where did I put my nib assembly? Right there, sorry. Okay, so it has the extra tube right there. So it's another place where you can have a crack. So obviously you will have to remove this nib assembly. If it has a nib assembly, you most likely could see it protruding a little bit out with a little black, like this one. Maybe, I don't know if I can show you. It's not easy because some pens don't have a metal, so usually they don't crack as easier because it's metal, and you can't really see if you can dismantle the nibs. Give us a call and we'll tell you if it's a nib assembly or not. But just looking will tell you if the section is cracked or the very thin tube, because it's super thin right there, that is stressed because we're trying to put something flat inside a tube. The little tube is always stressed a little bit and could get cracks, but also because of time. Okay, so most likely you will have to remove the nib. You can pull them, or you can remove by unscrewing this nib assembly, and just check everything thoroughly. I think we've been through about every possible aspect, and we forgot to tell you about the fun part of it. Well, when I went to school, I had a lot of fun with my fountain pen, and I was not really happy with one of my fellow students. I would do such a thing, so throw a lot of ink across the room. Don't do that, obviously, but these pens can leak if you really want to. But they are designed now not to do so, so you can put them in a lot of different positions. If that doesn't help, well, just call me, send me your pen, and I will be happy to fix it. And once again, happy writing, and see you very soon.